Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is HitokiriSingh, and today we're going to talk about everything you need to know about mounting in Monster Hunter World Iceborne, the mechanics behind it, how to optimize damage, what skills to eat for it, really the proper etiquette for it. There's a lot of misconceptions about how to mount monsters and what to do during mounts, and some people tell you to do nothing, and that's kind of completely wrong. But we're going to go over everything you want to know about mounting, and it all starts with this skill right here. You want to make sure that you have the flight airborne skill decoration in your build. What this does, I'll pull it up here in a second, is it gives you an increase of 30% damage to any aerial skill or any aerial attack that you're doing, and that's huge, to the point of you can use it to spam aerial attacks just for damage, not necessarily for mounting in a lot of different techniques. And it also has a mount modifier. This is kind of like stun or sleep. It's not like a damage modifier, but there is a mount damage modifier, like along with parts damage, that kind of stuff, where there's certain skills that increase your mount damage to make a mount happen faster, and that's what the airborne skill does, as well as just increase the 30% damage. But that 30% damage also combos into the more damage you're doing with your aerial hits, the faster you're going to mount regardless. And also you have that same skill built into the glider mantle, not the 30% damage, but the increase in mount damage that you do when you're wearing that. So this is an IG build I have that has flight in the actual build, but you can also alternatively do it in other ways too if you're not using an IG. Like I can do it with my longsword in my Fatalis build, where I just put a flight attack decoration in my glider mantle. And so if you're going to use this for the mount purposes, you're actually going to get the increased mount damage from the glider mantle on top of stacking with the flight deco, and then the increased attack also helps increase those mount damages. This is going to be important because this is also a technique you can do with the glider mantle to just clutch onto them and release and immediately go into your aerial attack with any weapons, and it can be surprisingly effective. You hammer mains out there, you don't know what you're sleeping on if you've never tried putting on a glider mantle, clutching on, jumping off, and using your aerial hammer attacks. You know what I'm talking about. It's really amazing. The other thing I want to talk about is this food skill, Feline Rider. A lot of people recommend eating for it. I don't. It does make your first mount happen incredibly fast, you know, but the thing about the first mount is it happens fast anyway, so you might be looking at 1 or 2 hits faster, and I just think it's kind of a waste because you can eat for something else like black belt for an IG main, something that might have groomer if you're going against Alatreon or an elemental monster, something like that, that you get way more bang for your buck. Well, really that's about it about skills and your food things. I would just eat for anything else, and let's go on to the rest of the video. The first thing you want to know about mounting is when to do it. It's most effective when the monster is enraged. So this is a typical fight. I like to drop these bombs right here. Get a little extra damage. I am a little bit of a damage whore, I guess. Yeah, damage whore. You always want to wallbang. When the monster's not in rage, you always want to wallbang. You know, that's the only thing you always want to remember. You don't bang when you're enraged. Well, I guess you could. But you bang when you're unenraged. Anyways, and if you get the first wall bang without turning it only once or less, you have a second one available. So you're going to make sure you use as many wall bangs as you can. I'm also using this time to charge up my bugs, charge up your longsword. I'm not the best claver, so don't judge me on that. And now that I have my charges, he's going to get enraged now. This is when you want to go ahead and mount. I actually thought that was a clagger, but it wasn't. It was just a regular flinch. He's going to do his move. Enraged. This is the first thing you want to know. Always make sure you're using your mounts when they're enraged, your traps when they're enraged. That's when they're meant to be used. So as a mechanic of mounting, the best thing to do is when you see the screen flash red, just move up and down. You have a couple other options, but you're basically just going to use triangle to start hitting them. And the more you hit one spot, the faster you'll get the finisher. And most people just naturally just finish it. Actually got too much damage there and just knocked him down. But that's not really the best way to handle mounts. When you're solo, yeah, fine, just bring them down as quickly as possible. But this is what I wanted to point out with the glider mantle. You jump off, you do your aerial, you get them out. Again, you have a couple of options. One of them is brace by holding R2, which you never really need, because if you just jump as soon as the screen turns red, you can just go to another part and just alternate between the head and chest, and you can always be fine. You can actually shoot slinger pods into them by holding it down L2 and then shooting them with R2, but that's not necessary. Generally, what you're going to do solo is just finish it off with the mount finisher. Boom, get your knockdown, get your free huge damage opening, and just maximize that damage potential. And you want to aim all your hits to the head, because what you're hoping for by focusing all your hits and getting a lot of head damage is you get some kind of clagger, you get some kind of head knockdown, something like that. You reset the clagger, jump back off, get some more aerials to build up for the next mount, and have a nice big punish window. That's what you're going to do solo. It's never a problem just to follow those guidelines. Like I said, just every time you see the screen turn red, do it. The other thing you want to know is when you do an aerial attack from your mount, your raider mount, you get the additional mount modifier as well, and it's pretty large. I think it's 1.5 times the normal one. So it's generally a quick way to get a mount if you've already gotten a couple aerial hits. Just ride your thing up there and get it. Again, this is for solo. Just want to point out, this is with a team, and I brought them down immediately, and now we all used our damage window, and everybody thinks this is what they're doing, and they're doing a great job. And yeah, you are, but you can get way more damage out of this. There's a thing called holding the mount that you really, really need to know about. So conventional wisdom is when somebody is mounting, don't do anything, you make things more difficult for them. And that's somewhat true, because you do make those red flashes when you need to move happen a little quicker. But it's not unreactable, and you just got to watch out for them, and you can easily move to another spot. In the beginning, the monster might throw out a few attacks, so go ahead and buff, sharpen, take some demon powder, that kind of stuff. But there's going to be times to really go at the monster. So here you're doing your aerials, you're working on getting your mount. Got them out, and now we're just tapping, triangle to get your dinky one-hit things. But basically, the more hits you get on one spot, the faster you bring up your finisher. And now when you hold them out, you just never do your finisher. It's as simple as that. You're just kind of mindful of when you're pressing triangle to bring up the finisher that it's coming, and when you see the icon, you just don't do anything, and then you just create this huge damage window, and you're still mounted. And what brings the monster down is it reaches a certain damage threshold before it's going to be knocked down, even if the monster's mounted. And then you do your mounted finisher, and yeah, have fun, destroy, that kind of stuff. So this is going to be super, super effective when you're going against really difficult monsters and you're with a team that is expecting it. This is what I kind of mean by mount etiquette. I get the mount right here. This is Furious Rajang, a very, very, very difficult fight. But it can be made much, much simpler by knowing when to get the mount in the first place, when he's super enraged, what to do. See how he's aggressive in the beginning, but even before the finisher comes up, he has these animations that start to develop. This is the sign for the team to come attack. You're doing way more damage than I could do solo by doing my mount finisher, and now I'm holding the mount after that. There was a mount animation, and now this is a mount hold. We're getting incredible amounts of damage off of this, much more than if I just finished the mount. And now you're going to get the mount knockdown. I'm still on him. Look, now I'm off of him because of the damage threshold, and now we're going to do our mount knockdown punish. So I would say you're quadrupling, if not more, the amount of damage your team can do in those moments by just holding that mount. Now, you can't do this against every monster. You can only do this against ground-based monsters. But look what happened. The time he was enraged was used up by the mount and some other things. Monkey's a hard fight, but if you're smart with your traps and your wall bangs, you can pretty much keep him in this cycle where you can pretty much end him quickly with getting a mount at the right time. We missed the mount early in this fight because he unenraged quickly, so we went for the wall bangs, and then we got it towards the end of the fight, and like if you can see the timer, I think we're maybe at like 7 minutes, something like that, and this isn't like a speedrunning team. This is just 4 people that are competent fighters, and I think 3 of us, maybe all 4 of us are Zero fans. Yeah, I think all 4 of us are. And yeah, mount was held brilliantly by Rip. thank you so much for all the footage that you helped provide for this specific video. Rip really helped me out about that. Now, you got monsters like Fatalis. They have whole mechanics based on how much damage you're doing to their head, called head breaks. And to have a successful fight, you definitely want to make sure you get both head breaks. And you're well on your way when you get these flinches right here. You know, you get 3 of those flinches. Every third flinch is basically a head break. You get 2, the third one's going to be a head break. So you're centering your entire fight about making sure you get head damage at appropriate times. And having somebody on glaive or somebody mounting, not for speed running, but for just a sake of having a very, very comfortable and easy fight, especially if you're helping somebody farm. Like, this is the first head break. So I asked Rip to just go ahead and start mounting after the first head break so we can get 1 additional knockdown to make the second head break happen easier. And that's exactly what happened. She's getting ready to go for the mount, but then we realize the monster's unenraged. So boom, she gives me the little okay, I see what you're doing there. Enrage, and watch Rip. Rip goes immediately, I go for the punish, and she goes immediately into her triangle downward insect glaive attacks. Spamming that, you know, that's what you're going to do for the mounts for the glaive. That's the only time you really want to use that attack, is when you want to get ready to do the mount. Boom, you get the mount, and this is super important. Almost every monster has something you can do when the monster is mounted as well. Fatalis, you shoot dragon pods and you make him flinch on every second one. He does go into an animation lock, so you got to kind of wait for the second flinch, but after that second flinch, Fatalis immediately comes down and you can do your punish. Solo, you can pump some pods into him if you got the timing. It's not necessary if you move to the tail, but basically that created 1 more big damage open window for us to get this second head break comfortably. You know, this is a team of 1 newer player to the team. Me and Rip have been fighting for a while, many months now, so we're very comfortable with this fight. So yeah, that's pretty much it. This is going to be an example right here, and I'm going to kind of end it with this, of just us going into this fight knowing what we're expecting. This is me, Felix, Rolaki, and Kaito, and they know I'm on glaive. No, they know the mount's coming. They know the paralysis is coming. So enjoy the show.